Bernoulli trial. A Bernoulli trial is simply an experiment जिसकी दो possible outcomes हो. Okay, so जो आपका head and tail experiment है, that's called a Bernoulli trial. Similarly, अगर आपने कोई bit है उसको randomly आपने flip किया है, you get a 0 or a 1, तो उस तरह के trial को हम Bernoulli trial कहते हैं. Okay, Bernoulli trial का normally फायदा ये होता है कि you can run it multiple times and then you can compute a lot of interesting things on such trials. For example, many problems can be solved by determining the probability of case successes when an experiment consists of n mutually independent Bernoulli trials. Okay, um, so mutually independent का मतलब ये है कि if you flip the bit 100 times, तो उसके अंदर कोई dependence नहीं है इन सारे experiments की. All experiments are totally independent from each other. Okay, here's first example. A coin is slightly biased, so the probability of heads is 2 or 3, and then probability of tail is 1 or 3. What's the probability that exactly 4 heads come up when the coin is flipped 7 times? Assuming the flips are independent. Okay. So you can think of this as a Bernoulli trial because each experiment has 2 outcomes. So you toss a coin 7 times, I think. And your event is you get exactly 4 hits. And you want to compute the probability that A occurs. How do you think we should compute it?
सर इसमें वो एक दफ़ा क्वेश्चन दोबारा बता देंगे?
Yeah, sure. So the question is, I have a coin and I flip it 7 times. Okay, so जो अगर forget about Bernoulli trial, अगर आप उसके बारे में भूल जाएं तो you should see कि आपकी जो sample space है, it contains bit strings of length 7. Okay, जहाँ पे मैं bit string कह रहा हूँ head and tails को. Okay, now the question is, what is the probability that you get exactly 4 ones or 4 heads?
4/14.
Um,
ये बिट स्ट्रिंग्स वाली बात समझ नहीं आई सर.
Okay, let me go ahead and do this. Okay, so you generate 7 bits at random. Okay. A is the event that random bit, the string contains exactly 4 1 bits. Okay, now I want to compute the probability of A. Make sense? It's the same thing. Okay, तो वहाँ पे मैंने coins को अब bits कह दिया.
4/7.
No, why 4/7?
मुझे ये टोटल की समझ नहीं आई. टोटल मतलब बिट्स कितनी होंगी हमारे पास?
7 bits हैं.
Sir, it's 7 factorial over 3 factorial or divided by 2 to the power 7.
I think you're wrong, but let me write it down. So सबसे पहले तो आप compute करें कि what's the size of the sample space. Okay. How many strings can you generate of 7 bits?
2 to the power 7.
2 power 7. Yeah, so that's fine. How many of those strings contain exactly 4 ones?
सर इसमें हम परम्यूटेशंस काउंट करते जाएंगे कि एक वन आने के कितने.
अभी यहाँ पे एक और टेक्निकलिटी है जो हमने यहाँ पे नहीं कंसीडर की, पर हम उसके ऊपर हम देखेंगे अभी. बट फॉर नाउ, हाउ मेनी ऑफ दीज बिट्स?
4 to 7.
4 to 7.
7 factorial divided by 3 factorial.
4 choose 7 sir. 4 factorial over 7 factorial into no.
So almost all of you are there. Okay, आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं. So the thing is, think of a 7-bit string. How many are there? 4, 5, 6, 7, I think.
What has
Okay, so you want to make sure that 4 of them are 1. Okay, so what you do is that you just go and pick कि वो कौन सी 4 होंगी. That's all the option you have. उसके अलावा आपके पास कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि उन 4 के अलावा बाकी सारी zeros होंगी और वो 4 definitely 1 होंगी. So all you could do is you could choose 4 out of 7 bits. Okay, और वो करने की आपके पास options हैं.
Commutation.
7 choose 4. Okay, so there are 7 choose 4 bits जिसके अंदर 4 आपके पास exactly 4 ones हैं. Okay, so इस केस में जो probability of A है 7 choose 4 over 2 to the 7. Okay, but
Yes.
there was a technical problem जो मैं अब आपको उस तरफ ले जाता हूँ. But is it clear so far? यहाँ तक ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are 2 to the 7 possible strings. उसमें से 7 choose 4 strings ऐसी हैं जिनमें exactly 4 ones होंगे. Okay, let me just sort of ask you the same question. How many strings would you have जिनमें exactly 4 zeros होंगे?
Seven choose 4.
Yeah, exactly
Same, sir.
same number of bits. Okay, so the number of bits which contain exactly 4 zeros is also 7 choose 4. और इस केस में भी आपने एक्सपेरिमेंट में यही करना है. You need to just choose those 4 bits. वो 0 हो जाएंगी और बाकी remaining bits आपकी 1 हो जाएंगी. Okay, so the number of strings which contain exactly 4 zeros is equal to the number of strings which contain exactly 4 ones. Just wanted to give you a side note. All right, so the technical problem I was mentioning is this, कि जो heads की probability है वो 2 और 3 है. अब not all these strings are equally likely. Some of these strings are more likely than the other. Okay, so अगर if all these strings were equally likely, so this would have been perfectly fine solution. But now some strings are more likely. The strings which contain more ones would be more likely because one has more probability, right? 1 या head आने की probability 2 over 3 है. So what do we do? So this is what we do, and this comes from the Bernoulli trial definition. And what it says is that after choosing these strings, what you need to do is you need to make sure that those strings are what you want them to be. Okay, so for example, for the 4 strings जो आपने pick किए, let's say these are here, इनके what is the अब ये 2 over 7 निकाल दें, इसको हम आगे count करेंगे. What is the probability that these 4 strings are 1? So once again, मैंने आपको 4 string दे दी. Okay, मैंने choose कर ली है. ये choose करने वाला काम मैंने 7 choose 4 में कर लिया. अब what I want is कि मैं इन 4 strings के लिए I want them to be ones. Okay, अब इसमें से इस एक के 1 आने की probability 2 और 3 है. Okay, और इस एक के 1 आने की probability भी 2 और 3 है. इसकी भी 2 और 3 है और इसकी भी 2 और 3 है. What's the probability that all 4 of them are 1?
2 over 3 power 4.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 power 4 because हमने यहाँ पे कहा है कि these flips are independent. Okay, अब वो चूंकि independent है तो फिर हम independence वाला फार्मूला यूज कर सकते हैं कि probability that let's say कि ये x1 है, ये x2 है, ये x3 है, ये x4 है. x1 is head and x2 is head and x3 is head and x4 is it. Okay, this is what we want, and this is equal to the product of individual in की अलग-अलग जो probability है. Okay, times probability of x2 is equal to and so on. Okay, so this is equal to 2 over 3 to the power 4. That's not enough because I have 3 remaining bits. Okay, or in 3 bits के ऊपर I need to make sure that I get 0. Okay, what is the probability that I get 0 on these 3 pink bits?
1/8.
Yeah, it's 1 minus 2 over 3. Okay, कि ये bit 0 होगी. इसके head आने की probability 2 over 3 है और इसके tail आने की probability 1 minus 2 over 3 है, which is 1 over 3. So this is 1 over 3, this is 1 over 3, and this is 1 over 3. So इनके head आने की probability 1 over 3 cube, which is 1 over 27. All right, so that's it. This completes the statement. The probability that exactly 4 bits are 1 is equal to 7 choose 4 times 2 over times 2 over 3 to the power 4 times 1 over 3 to the power 3. Let this part sink in. Okay, so what you do is you first pick the bits जिनको आपने 1 करना है, okay, and then you make sure that those bits are 1, and then you make sure that the remaining bits are not 1. Okay, so इस probability को compute करने के 3 parts हैं. First you compute कि वो कौन सी bits होंगी जो 1 होंगी, या वो कौन से coins होंगे जो head होंगे. Okay, once you have picked those जो हमने यहाँ पे pick किए, you need to make sure कि वो आप pick तो आपने कर लिए, अब वहाँ पे head ही होगा. उसके लिए आपको ये करना पड़ेगा, जो success की probability है उसकी power the number of successes, okay, times failure की probability time to the power the number of failures.
सर हम वो जो अनबायस्ड वाला था उसको भी तो इस तरह देख सकते हैं. वी जस्ट
Absolutely. वो और ये सेम है. उस केस में हमारे पास ये होगा कि you have 7 choose 4 times 1 over 2 to the probability 4 over 1 over 2 to the probability 3. Okay, which is same. अगर आप देखें तो this becomes 7 choose 4. Good observation. It's just 1 2 to the power 7. Okay, अब लेकिन जब ये unbiased होगा तो you actually need to put down कि उसकी क्या probability है success की. Okay, and here is the generic formula for it, that the number of k successes in n trials is equal to उसकी जो probability is equal to n choose k p to the power k, where k is the number of successes, times 1 minus p to the power n minus k. Okay, यहाँ पे p is the success probability of 1 coin or 1 bit. I hope this makes sense to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Travis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. If you have questions, let me know.
सर ये वो बर्नौली की एक दफा पिछली वाली स्लाइड दिखा देंगे सर?
Absolutely. Bernoulli trial is simply a trial जिसके अंदर सिर्फ 2 outcomes होती हैं, सिर्फ 2 outcomes हैं. Okay. उसमें से एक outcome को हम success कहते हैं, दूसरे outcome को हम failure कहते हैं. And now the question we usually want to ask is कि अगर मैं Bernoulli trial को n times repeat करूँगा, तो what's the probability that I would get k successes? Okay, you can think of it as a gambling problem. Okay, you go ahead and you want to gamble some money, और हर दफा win करने की एक probability है. Okay, now you say कि okay, अब अगर मैं 1000 times bet करूँगा, तो how many times do I expect to win? Okay.
Yes, sir.
जब आप एक दफ़ा विन करने का आपको पता है तो हाउ डू यू मतलब उसको आप स्केल कर रहे हैं इफ़ यू वांट टू डू इट a million times तो how many times you expect to win.
यस सर ठीक हो गया.
Okay, this is the last question we want to do. I'm probably going to leave a couple of minutes early today. I have another meeting. So find each of the following probabilities when n is an independent Bernoulli trial. So n independent Bernoulli trials are carried out with probability of success p. What's the probability of no successes?
1/n.
What's the probability of no successes?
N होगी.
1/n.
I don't know. So remember the formula. Okay, so this is the formula for k successes. So and choose 0, right? Just put the values there. Okay, we'll see क्या होता है. p to the power 0 and 1 minus p to the power n, right? So once again मैं आपको ये memorize कर दूँ. n choose k. अब यहाँ पे k is the number of successes. Okay, so you have to choose the places जहाँ पे succeed करेंगे आप. उसके बाद आपने success की probability को k दफ़ा multiply करना है. उसके बाद आपने
P minus
failure
P
की
square.
probability को multiply करना है n minus k times.
P minus P square. Oh no. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I get it. P into 1 minus P raised by n.
नहीं, it's only going to be 1 minus p raised to power n.
Yeah.
so everything is
Choose.
1. Okay, ये सब कुछ 1 है तो you are just
1 minus p raised by
p
n.
to the power n, right? There's nothing to choose. Okay, there's nothing to succeed on. You flip the coin n times and every time you fail, and the failure probability is 1 minus p, so it's just gonna be 1 minus p to the power n. All right, probability of one success. Chavez,
Yes sir.
what's the probability of one success? Just put the value in the formula, okay?
Yes sir. एक मिनट.
It will be NP raised.
Let Chavez
Okay.
speak for a second.
Okay.
Chavez, put the values in the damn formula, please. Where are you?
मैं कर रहा हूँ.
Okay. I'm running out of time here. And little bit patience as well.
नहीं सर मैं असल में ये probability के साथ शुरू में थोड़ा सा struggle कर रहा था.
Okay, so here's the formula, okay? And choose k, p to the k, 1 minus p to the power n minus k, okay? K is 1, just put the value in the formula. Will you?
Yes sir. मैं लिख रहा हूँ एक मिनट.
There's nothing to write there. Oh boy. Okay, कोई और बताएं.
N.
Put him, yeah, n.
N into P into
N
1
into
minus
P.
P raised by n minus 1.
Yeah. N minus 1. Okay. So it's gonna be n, choose 1, which is n. It's p to the power 1, which is p, and it's 1 minus p to the power n minus 1. Okay, I'm gonna leave the part C and D for you guys to do. Any questions? All right. Let's meet on Thursday, which is going to be our last day, official last day of this class. And bring any
And sir,
questions
when
that
will
you might have.
Okay. When will be told that will we have our exams on the campus or like at home?
I have no idea. Academics is gonna take care of it. They'll probably tell you. Whenever I know, I'll let you know. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay.
Allah Hafiz,
Goodbye.
sir.
Allah Hafiz.